Stay focused on the game and don't let the noise distract you.
But I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. There's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulder.
For LeBron, Clark isn't merely a talented player. She represents a force capable of changing the narrative around women's basketball.
LeBron, Bron, or even King James. Whatever you call the McDonald Boys Player of the Year, call him a winner.
You've seen him dominate so many times. Can he dominate against players this good?
Chris Paul to LeBron James. That didn't take very long. You came in here to watch the game. Would you walk out saying he was clearly the best player on the floor tonight?
Oh, without question. I think he is, without being disrespectful to the other players, he's a man among boys.
But here's the twist. Larry Bird, one of the greatest players in history, just broke his silence with advice that could not only silence her critics, but change her entire career path. Stick around to see how Bird's words could transform everything for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's journey to basketball stardom didn't happen overnight. From her high school days in Indiana to her record-breaking performances in college, she's been building her reputation step by step.
I was going to say Caitlin Clark's been compared to you.
Yeah, but I think it almost robs her of like the rest of her game because she's such a good floor, she has her overall, floor game. She's racking up, close to triple doubles every night, and
Right.
Her shooting ability is, it's her superpower.
But Curry's endorsement was only the beginning. Just as the basketball world was coming to terms with Curry's praise for Clark, another powerhouse stepped in, LeBron James. Known for his own ability to carry teams on his back, James recognized something special in Clark during her explosive performances in the NCAA tournament. LeBron is no stranger to the pressures of being a young star with the weight of a team on his shoulders. And in Clark, he saw a reflection of that journey. LeBron didn't just praise her for her skill. He pointed out that Clark's presence would bring a lot of great things to the WNBA, elevating the league's profile. But he also offered her some personal advice. Stay focused on the game and don't let the noise distract you.
But I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before.
He wanted her to see that the real legacy isn't built on public approval, but on staying true to the passion that brought her here in the first place. So here we are, watching Caitlin Clark at the center of a unique moment in sports history. With NBA legends like Stephen Curry and LeBron James backing her up, and icons like Magic Johnson seeing her rivalry as a way to elevate the sport, Clark finds herself in a position few athletes ever reach.
And once she crosses half court, she's within her range. It's always a threat. Biggest thing is how she balances that and her playmaking ability to get everybody else involved.
Curry saw something that many might overlook: Clark's court vision, her instinctive playmaking, and her ability to elevate the entire team. According to Curry, Clark isn't just a shooter. She's a complete player with a skill set that challenges traditional views of women's basketball. He's watched her control the pace of the game, make sharp passes, and keep a level head even in the tensest situations. With legends watching her every move, the question remains: will Caitlin Clark rise to the occasion, leaving a mark that redefines the WNBA? Or is there more to prove before she can truly stand alongside the greats? The only thing certain is that we're witnessing the start of something extraordinary. And with every game, every rivalry, every record she breaks, Clark is shaping a legacy that could forever change the landscape of basketball. Most people think Caitlin Clark's biggest challenge in the WNBA is proving her skills to the league. But what if I told you that her toughest battles are actually off the court? Despite admiration from NBA legends like Stephen Curry and LeBron James, Caitlin faces resistance and envy from within the WNBA itself. But here's the twist. Larry Bird, one of the greatest players in history, just broke his silence with advice that could not only silence her critics, but change her entire career path. Stick around to see how Bird's words could transform everything for Caitlin Clark. Johnson saw Clark's brewing rivalry with Angel Reese and couldn't help but be reminded of his own storied battles with Bird in the 1980s. For Magic, rivalries weren't just about competition, they were about elevating the sport. His rivalry with Bird had brought unprecedented attention to the NBA, drawing fans and media interest that transformed the league. Johnson believed Clark and Reese had the potential to do the same for the WNBA. But in his typical fashion, Magic also offered a reminder: popularity doesn't make a player the best.
They're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA player. They're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA player.
According to Magic, Clark still has to prove herself, just as he and Bird had to in their early careers. He explained that while Clark is the most popular player right now, popularity alone isn't enough. She'll need to continue honing her skills and prove game after game that she belongs among the best. It wasn't a critique as much as a challenge, a reminder that the path to greatness is long and requires constant growth. Magic's words were both a compliment and a reality check, highlighting the journey that Clark still has ahead of her. And at the heart of it all, Larry Bird's words stand as both support and a challenge. He's given her the wisdom to withstand the critics, but also the push to keep pushing forward, proving herself in every game. And yet, as we wrap up, the real story isn't over. It's just beginning. With legends watching her every move, the question remains: will Caitlin Clark rise to the occasion, leaving a mark that redefines the WNBA? But this isn't just another athlete making waves. Clark's rise feels more revolutionary, almost disruptive in the world of basketball. Her playing style, which combines deadly shooting range with an intense competitive spirit, has drawn attention from some of the biggest names in the sport. Yet there's an undeniable split between how the NBA views her versus the WNBA's reaction. From the NBA side, the admiration came early. Stephen Curry, who redefined the way basketball is played with his deep-range shooting, was one of the first to speak up about Clark's talent. And then, after weeks of speculation, Larry Bird finally broke his silence. Bird, known for his quiet demeanor and private life, had watched from the sidelines as Clark's story unfolded. But now he felt it was time to offer his perspective. Bird, who had faced his own share of critics throughout his career, had a message that resonated with anyone who's been under the spotlight. Focus on your game, not the noise around you. In his statement, Bird reminded Clark that the critics will always be there, ready to tear down what they don't understand. But he assured her that in the long run, those voices don't matter. What you're doing now will be remembered forever, Bird said.
Her range, her three-point shooting overall, her flair for testing her range every night and knowing that the other team's going to try to take it away. And she's fearless. No shot is a bad shot, and when you can shoot it as well as she can.
He noted that watching her was like seeing a reflection of his younger self. Her ability to take long-range shots effortlessly in clutch moments felt reminiscent of his own rise in the NBA. In an interview, Curry expressed his admiration, explaining how Clark's shooting often steals the spotlight, but that her real talent goes much deeper. He was a phenomenon. His work ethic, his no-nonsense approach, and his fierce competitiveness made him a household name. And when Clark began breaking records and turning heads with her relentless drive, fans couldn't help but draw parallels to Bird's legendary career. But it wasn't just fans who noticed. Magic Johnson, Bird's longtime rival, weighed in on the conversation. Johnson saw Clark's brewing rivalry with Angel Reese and couldn't help but be reminded of his own storied battles with Bird in the 1980s. For Magic, rivalries weren't just about competition, they were about elevating the sport. His rivalry with Bird had brought unprecedented attention to the NBA, drawing fans and media interest that transformed the league.